What is up? What is happening? DFS DJ Nation, we are back at a not scheduled time because it is Thanksgiving week, our favorite day of the year. A tradition like no other, as Ryan would say, and he kept the tradition alive by being 15 minutes late per usual. He couldn't find his AOL CD, to get his hours up for his American Online to be able to get going. So he finally got him here. But
wait, hold on. Kev, I know you ain't going to come in with the smoke with that weak-ass intro. You better do that over for the people. What is happening here? We're at Thanksgiving. This is your slate. You call me up out of the hiatus and doldrums to come on this slate, and you're going to open it up like that with that weak-ass intro? Run that back, DJ.
Hey, we got stuff to talk about. This is already going to be a 3-hour show. Okay.
Oh God.
All right. So,
what's going on? What's happening? You guys are into the TFA DJ Nation podcast. We got Thanksgiving coming live for you with Santa Kev. We got Maddie DFS, aka Maddie Gets Buckets, aka Maddie in them DFS streets. We got the boy D-Bro, the one and only. Shout out to D-Bro out here getting them tickets. And your boys here, Ryan Williams. You can find me on Twitter at RyanAlexander_W. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying the intro, so I'm going to throw out my
chills.
Twitter handle.
I legit have
boys.
chills.
We got Thanksgiving slate. Come on now, Kev. You got the boys back together and you're going to start off with that weak-ass shit? What is going on?
Kev was going to host and Ryan just took it over.
Rip Bozo.
Love to see it.
Well, see, I was trying to. That's what I did. I have to. Sometimes I have to knock myself down to lift you up. Okay, so that's what I was trying to do. So I came in.
Kev, you've been too busy counting them bags. I see. You hitting out there in the DK streets, and you got to count a couple grands, and now you just kind of chilling. You sitting on your laurels. No, man, we still gotta be in it to win it. It's a Thanksgiving slate. Come on.
Tell him, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm gonna take another one down.
It's the damn year, baby.
I'm
so in.
With that, let's just fucking get into it. Because this is gonna take a long time. Because it always does. I don't know why. I never get it. I've never understood the science behind this. This is a 3-game slate, and somehow
Kev, it's really easy. We take an hour per game. Haven't you figured this out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. We can go through a main slate and get through it in an hour and a half, but we go through a 3-game slate, and it's just the worst.
The only thing I can guarantee that's not going to happen on this one, because I'm only drinking a Red Bull, is I won't be blackout drunk by the end of it. That's the only thing I can promise.
Well, you got to get started off right
for this podcast.
You might just be blackout, not blackout drunk.
That's fair.
Hey, we got Walito in the chat dropping a cool 50 Canadian. The crew is in the house, baby. My guys, D-Bro and Ryan. What is up? It's probably not going great for Ryan though, because never mind. I was
don't start it off like that, Kev.
I was gonna make a joke.
This is how it goes. 3 hours. Why are you
asking
asking the questions you already know the answers to? This dude has to go on a diatribe every time he brings up a topic. That's how we end up going for longer. And then Kev will black out, as D-Bro alluded to, and then he'll ask at the end of the show, "Man, how do we go for 3 hours? I got to stay up all night editing." Well, yeah, motherfucker, because that's the runtime. We got 2
He
hours.
already dropped it in our chat. He already griped about that. He already said, "I'm gonna be up till 1:30 in the morning editing this damn piece."
Hey,
oh my God, I ain't got no sympathy for him.
Well, I was gonna make fun of the background, but I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do it. We can't talk about that. We're just gonna keep it 100.
We kind of just did, right? Like that just kind of happened.
Keep it moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
The subtle shots.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Ryan's coming in spicy. It's been forever since he's been on here. Okay, he's big time in this now. I guess he can't be on the show anymore. He's one of the OGs of this show, and for whatever reason, he doesn't grace with his presence anymore. Me and Maddie
start throwing up the counter. Stop throwing up the counter. We got 3 tangents on this dude. He said we're gonna start the slate.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the quarterback position. It is going to be short, sweet, and to the point, because all we have is Josh Allen at 8K, $6,200 Dak Prescott, $5,600 Kirk Cousins, $5,500 Daniel Jones. Jared Goff is $5,200, and we don't really need to talk about the bum that is Mac Jones at $5,100. So let's start it off. Ryan, you seem to have so much to say. Let us know. Let us know on the FanDuel streets what you're looking at at quarterback this week.
Yeah, I was like, what are these prices? What are you talking about? I don't see any of those prices of what you're talking about. I got Josh Allen at 9,500. I got Dak Prescott at 8K. No, I mean, what are we doing here, boys? Like, we're playing Josh Allen. I know he just burned a ton of people on the previous slate. It's the best game from on paper. And D-Bro, I'll let you run, I'll let you run poetic on the analytics and everything that's rubbing off the page. But I just look at this game at Detroit. Dude, the games at Detroit have been explosive like all year long. I think they're averaging like around 62 points per game. Like, and we talk about this all the time, especially with the Thanksgiving slate. Like, how shitty is it to just be dead after game one? And that's what you're looking at here. If I'm playing, Josh Allen, I should say this. Stephon Diggs is, if I'm playing him, then I'm playing him with Josh Allen, and like I'm looking at the salary, and that's what takes up. I will have Gabe Davis everywhere. I know his price on other sites is absolutely egregious, and I just love being able to play him solo in this game because I do think that he still has that upside. If Stephon Diggs pops, I think it's Allen coming with him. But I think Dak is in a good spot. Dak is at home. This Giants defense, you can attack them versus the run, and everybody's going to lean there. But what happens when CeeDee Lamb gets loose against the secondary? That's absolutely obliterated and littered with injuries. And you're getting, at least on FanDuel, you get a discount of $1,500 there. And if the points are going through the air instead of on the ground, as everybody's expecting, then I think there's some leverage there. Outside of those two guys, like, you just can't pay me enough to play Kirk Cousins at this point. I mean, I don't know. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I still can't play Jared Goff. And Mac Jones is dust.
Ryan, what's Kirk Cousins' salary on FanDuel?
7,400.
Okay, you would have to pay me $7,400 to play Kirk Cousins.
I mean,
not salary money, like actual legit American dollars.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I mean, he is playing at home, and I mean, we have seen this. We have seen them do crazy stuff, but this is also hilarious because we get the Kirk Cousins prime time like on Thanksgiving slate. So like I could see people trying to leverage that and like it just falling apart. And we'll be talking to ourselves, it can't happen 2 weeks in a row. Yes, it can, the way that this New England defense has been playing. So it's just a matter. It's really tough. Especially on FanDuel where I'm at, to build a lineup that you love with Josh Allen in it. Like, you have to make concessions in 2 or 3 spots. If you go with Dak, you can still pay up for other guys that I like, with pairing him with CD, Dalton. You can run it back with Gabe. But I am curious to see like how you guys are playing it on different sites and things of that nature with Josh Allen, because this elbow thing, like, it's been lingering for a little bit. And, I think that has some merit to it. This is also, I would love it if we could get him running, because this is one of the favorable matchups with rushing quarterbacks to go. Justin Fields just burned this team. I know some other guys have had success against this Detroit Lions defense as well too, but I just, I don't see them using him in that regard. So that's where I'm at. I'm probably like all in on Dak this week.
So when you look at this game, like this Buffalo Detroit game, right, it's definitely the one that everyone's going to go to. It has the highest total at 54. And if you look at games in Detroit this year, have combined for 62 points per game of all the games that have been played in Detroit this year. That is not even close, the highest on the entire year, for an average every single time. And you look at Josh Allen, you alluded to the fact that he has it, because he's definitely taken a hit over the last 4 games since he suffered this injury, right? He's thrown for less than 220 passing yards in 3 of his last 4 games. However, what's kept him afloat has been his rushing. He has 226 rushing yards over that span. Now, you talked about Detroit, and actually Detroit has actually been improved against the run. At least it looks like that outside of the quarterbacks, because Detroit was a team that was giving up about like 2nd or 3rd DK points per game. They are now dropped down to 14th. And if you look over the last 3 games, it has been the quarterbacks that have led their teams in rushing the last 3 games. Last week, it was Daniel Jones, 7 for 50. Saquon went 15 for 22. And then the week before that was obviously Justin Fields going nuclear, 13 for 147 and 2, where Herbert went for 13 for 57 and Monty 9 for 37. Then you had Aaron Rodgers actually led the team and rushing that week for 4 for 40. A.J. Dillon went 11 for 34, and Aaron Jones went 9 for 25. So this Lions team has done a much better job of containing the run, but that's not really a big deal when we're talking about Josh Allen, and it's not like they're a team that leans on the run anyways. So, with Devin Singletary. So when you look at Josh Allen, I think the story you have to figure out is there another way that he's not going to kill you? Is there a quarterback on this slate that can even come close to him in terms of what his production could be? Because quite honestly, on the other sites that we talk about of DraftKings, they have done a really poor job this week of pricing because it made it. They have really neutered a lot of these guys' pricing and doesn't really make it hard to really play Josh Allen with whoever you want. Because Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, yes, they are expensive at $8K and $8K a piece. But then if you want to go to drop in Gabe Davis, who should be in the $6K range at least, is $5,300. And then from there, you have Dawson Knox, who is also cheap at his price. And so it's one of those things that it doesn't take a lot to be able to get this stack in. So this stack is going to be expensive, and it's going to be one that is highly owned because it looks like it's the best game on the slate. But the question is where do you get different? And I think the best spot we can look to get different is going to be in this Dallas game, because I think Dak Prescott can easily go off. We know this isn't the type of slate when I look at this, when I see a bunch of teams like the Chiefs, right, for example, that really spread the ball around. You just never know where it's going to – you have really consolidated target shares between all of these teams, really. You look at the Bills. It's really Stephon Diggs is a clear one, and then from there is a big drop-off to Gabe Davis, and then there's a Dawson Knox, and then there's a complete chasm down to the bottom with guys like Isaiah McKenzie who might get 2 or 3 targets. The Bills or the Cowboys are the same way. You have Dalton Schultz, you have CeeDee Lamb, and then you have Michael Gallup a little bit, and then there's a big drop off to anybody else that you might have, right? Yes, you have the running backs there that are coming to play with Tony Pollard, who has been an absolute baller, especially over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And so I look at this Dallas side, and I think going with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and maybe getting a little bit different, fading Stephon Diggs, and maybe going with Gabe Davis, who could pop off for like 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think, in fading that and going a little bit different, it could be a way to go, because we're going to have to try to get leverage somewhere. And there's not a lot of great wide receivers to choose from. I think there's the guys at the top. And then a lot of these teams have really bad, like, are you playing a Giants wide receiver? Maybe Darius Slayton. Are you excited to play the other guys? Same thing with the Lions. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Who the fuck else you want to play? Do you want to play, Khalif Raymond? Maybe Josh Reynolds plays, but is any of those guys excite you for anything that could happen? Yes, it's a tournament and it's a 3-game slate. So if one of those guys catches a touchdown, you're probably going to be dead. But like in terms of just obvious plays here, I think it's pretty obvious. And I think just trying to find one little different can make all the difference in the world. What are your thoughts, D-Bro?
I mean, look, a lot of my exposure is going to go to Josh Allen and Dak Prescott. I don't really have any interest in Kirk Cousins or Daniel Jones on this slate. With Cousins, I mean, the Patriots are top 10 in both pressure and blitz rate. I think Patriots are like second in the league in pressure rate. And we know that Kirk Cousins just shits his pants versus pressure. Like it's time and time again. He has some of the largest splits in the entire NFL when you pressure him. And that's all New England is going to do. So I really think that, like, the Vikings are going to say, okay, that's fine. Like, I think what their game plan was last week was to utilize Dalvin Cook, and they just got blown the hell out. So I'm going to have, it's crazy that it says, like, I don't have a whole lot of interest in a lot of Vikings because I think Kirk Cousins just falls apart. And so does that lead me to paying up for, like, Justin Jefferson? If there's one big fade of this slate for me, it's Justin Jefferson. So I'm going to have mostly Josh Allen and Dak Prescott. I think they're the easy, clear guys. But I am going to bring up one guy. Kev's already going to shit on it. I know it's going to happen. But I'm going to have some Mac Jones, okay? And the reason I'm saying this is because the way that you attack freaking Minnesota is through the air. Their run defense before getting shredded by Dallas has been elite. Guys, like, since week 5, before they played the Cowboys, they're top 5 in every damn rushing metric that you look at. So, well, I think, like, I know it's all gross and we can all clown on Mac Jones. The man had a high completion rate last week. He threw for 9.1 yards per attempt. And yes, I know his ADOT was sub 5. That's fine, because how you beat the Vikings is not down the field. You beat the Vikings with yak. They're top 12 in yak. They can't tackle worth a shit. And so I think Mac Jones, if you're looking at the one guy off the board, that if all these quarterbacks, if Josh Allen doesn't go, and if you look at their game logs, they're not going nuclear like we just talked about. Like Josh Allen's last few games, okay? He's gone, since the injury, 12 points, 25 points, 26 points, 19 points. You look at Dak. He's had his last few games since returning from injury. He's at 20 points, 21, 26, 12. If Mac Jones gets you 18 and hell, even close to sniffing 20, and he's gotten 20 once this season. If he gets to that point, the fact that you save almost $3,000 by playing Mac Jones and what you're able to put around him, like you could stack all, we talk about the consolidated passing trees. If you got 20 points from Mac Jones and you can throw in Diggs, Amon-Ra, CeeDee Lamb, and you're getting the alphas from the other quarterbacks that allow them to access ceilings, I'm sorry, guys. Like, Mac Jones looks like a really damn good GPP play to me.
So you brought up the 18 points, but he's only scored 18 points one game all year. It's been 10, 9, 12, 1, 18, 13, and 9 for Mac Jones. That's fine. Right? And so it's just like, it just doesn't feel like there's much of a ceiling there for him whatsoever. I get what you're saying in terms of the price savings, but with a slate where there's not, like, it's not hard to really build whatever it is you want, I think, with maybe just a small concession. Like, is there enough?
That's why you're going to get a lot of the same builds, man. Like, everybody's going to be building the same damn way.
My one counter argument, Kev, to your point, is the defenses the Patriots have played have been pretty good, honestly. And then, really good. And then the ones that haven't been good against the run. So, like, they haven't necessarily needed a quarterback. So you got, well, at least these are in the games Mac Jones has started. So the Jets twice, really good defense. Yep.
I would say that's not
really good defense. The Bears,
the Colts are a run.
Bears defense is trash.
The Bears defense is very, very bad against the run.
Baltimore
so
struggles
no
against
the pass.
Yeah, but he didn't even play the entire
Baltimore
game.
has not been a good pass defense, especially early in the year.
I disagree with that. Early in the year, yes.
Yes, and they played him in week 3.
And he went for 20 points.
Yeah.
18.
That was his best game. Yeah. 22. Which he had 20.
Yeah.
21.9, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is this Minnesota matchup is the most similar thing to Baltimore that we've seen this year. Now, granted, I mean, that was a game they lost 26-37. I don't think that the Minnesota Vikings are going to put up 37 points, let alone maybe even 7 points. But, I mean, so that definitely is a concern, you know, that Minnesota can't force the Patriots to keep their foot on the gas from a passing perspective. But as far as, you know, like, just pure matchup based, I mean, this Minnesota defense is the most similar to that Baltimore game where he scored 22. So I mean, I don't know that I'm going to play Mac Jones, but I'm, you know, I only play one team most weeks myself, so I'm probably just going to play Josh Allen. But I mean, I agree with what Debro's saying. Like, if I was going to pay down at QB, I mean, Mac Jones is he's in the best matchup, and they're just not going to have. I personally don't think they're going to have success on the ground. So
before Dallas shredded them, since week 5, this is what the Vikings have done. They've allowed the 6th fewest rushing yards per game. They're number 1 in rush EPA per play, and they're number 5 in explosive run rate. New England is not going to be able to run the damn ball. And you could still, like, it's easy to kind of stack. No, he didn't. Sorry, my wife is like sending me messages. She's like written something up there. She's like, "Did he do this?" I'm like, "What the shit? I gotta write that. I gotta read that." But no, I mean, looking at this, like, it's not hard to stack Mac Jones either. You know, Ramondre Stevenson's going to get a 20% plus target share. You know, Jacoby Myers is going to get 10 plus targets. Okay, fine. Then stack him with the two of them. The Vikings are bad versus receiving backs. So Mondre gets one through the air. He goes for 60 or 70 receiving yards. Cool. Jacoby Myers can absolutely torch Chandon Sullivan's ass in the slot and get another 12 targets. He goes for 100. Like, to me, you're not asking Mac Jones to do a whole lot. If you look at the game logs for these quarterbacks, this is not trying to match Justin Fields in 40. This is not trying to match 30 points.
You're pretty much
trying
betting
to match 20.
You're betting on Dak and Josh Allen not having big games is what you're betting on.
You're betting on them having 20 points and Mac
because
Jones
then you're getting the high volume guys like the DeAndre Hopkins on the Cardinals, right? The Cardinals score 10 points, but Hopkins still goes out there and catches 10 balls for 100 yards. Like that's what you're getting. Right. And that's the type of entire slate outlook you'd be betting on. So I mean, you definitely would be different, betting on the Bills to not put up a 30 burger at least.
Well, then, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then. So then, why not Daniel Jones? Because at least with Daniel Jones, he provides because
the Dallas defense is like one of the best in the NFL.
Dallas defense is going to absolutely swarm his ass.
Yeah.
So I think some positives here for them is with their offensive line. Obviously, Andrew Thomas has played really well this year. They're getting Evan Neal back. That is going to be a massive upgrade for their offensive line to get him back on the right side. So I think that is going to help. But Daniel Jones still provides something. And we've seen his ceiling. Like he has games this year of 31 DK points. 29. Like we've seen it from him to be able to do this. And last week they were getting blown out for a lot of that game. It really wasn't close, and he still dropped 29 last week in that game. And that's with all the pass catchers out. Like Daniel Jones can definitely get there and is going to pick up yards on the ground. He is top 5 in the league in terms of rushing, in terms of carries per game, rushing yards per game for quarterbacks. And so I think there's definitely that there where I just don't think Mac Jones has a ceiling. Like it's not anything like his ceiling is 21 at best if everything goes right. And I mean that's also expecting that Bill Belichick's going to come out and just throw the rock the entire time. That's just not what they typically do. And so with Daniel Jones, I think, and while I obviously I think Mac Jones is a thin play, and I'm not saying that Daniel Jones is some elite play. That's not my point. But the counter argument is they're $300 difference in price. And with Daniel Jones, like I said, he offers something more. Like he has a higher floor because of his ability to run the football. Is always going to have a higher floor than a guy like Mac Jones who doesn't bring that to the table. And so Mac Jones can go out and throw for 300 yards and maybe have one passing touchdown or none because they get down. Depending on how it plays out, you get down to the goal line and then they let Ramondre or Damian Harris punch it in. And those are the things that would worry me. With Daniel Jones, I'm not worried about that. Daniel Jones can help out in terms of his floor because of his ability to run the football. And so, when I look at this,
what are we talking about floors for? Are you playing cash on a 3-gamer?
No, but
I don't give a shit about his floor.
No, but the problem is with Mac Jones' floor is 5.
I'm not playing him for his floor.
But he doesn't have a ceiling. That's the point. My point is he doesn't have a ceiling.
But you're talking about Daniel Jones' ceiling. He's gone for 29 and 31. What has he done in every other damn game? 18, 9, 14, 12,
right.
16,
I would 13,
also
argue
18.
A lot of that has been game script because they played. I mean, they're a 7-2 team.
What do you think the Giants are going to do? They're just going to run the damn ball. They're going to take it out of Daniel Jones' hands.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that. Yeah, the biggest thing is that both of these guys are just a void for me. I mean, Kev, first of all, who is Daniel Jones throwing the ball to? And he's not I don't see him going out there and rushing for 200, which is what he's gonna need in order to pay off on this freaking slate. He also has a terrible history against the Cowboys. In this division, this dude cannot put up points against this team. But Debro, I guess my thing about it, just listening to you say that, and I don't know the pricing on the other side, but I'm hearing these prices. I'm just doing the math in my head. If you play Mac Jones and you're saying you're crossing off Justin Jefferson, then where is all your salary going? Because I don't know if you can play necessarily a Diggs and CeeDee Lamb or whatever. With Diggs, why not just go up to Josh Allen and just get all the points there? Because if Diggs is popping off,
that's how I'm approaching the slate personally.
And if you're crossing off Justin Jefferson, you're playing Mac and you're gonna play him with a Myers. I don't know what his price is, but who are those people that you're playing him with? I think you're gonna have a ton of salary left over where you can figure out how to get up on Mac, but still getting those New England pieces you might want.
I just want to make it perfectly clear, and then I'll let you talk. All I want to say is this is not I'm advocating to play Daniel Jones. I was just simply talking about if I was going to pay all the way down a quarterback, I would rather play Daniel Jones than Mac Jones. That was the only thing that I was saying. I'm not saying that I would want to play Daniel Jones, but I really wouldn't want to play Mac Jones either.
Yeah, if this was a normal pod, not a 3-game slate, I would have said let's play Josh Allen, and I'm ready to move on to the running back position.
Yeah, but it's a 3-gamer.
Yeah.
So
I do. I am curious to hear from you, Debro. I will say the thing that is whatever enticing if you do want to talk yourself into a Daniel Jones play is they could also just involve Saquon so much more. And not to jump ahead to the running back position, but Saquon in this matchup, who does Daniel Jones have to throw to? Like, they have to figure out ways to get Saquon the ball against this team and in this matchup. So if you talk yourself into, okay, like I'm going to play Saquon as this, Christian McCaffrey like back and just take Daniel Jones along with him, and he gets 250 and hopefully he gets 50 plus rushing and both of those touchdowns go to Saquon, you talk yourself into a story where Dallas is just, got a lead on him, so he has to play from behind. That's the only way I could see myself playing a Daniel Jones, especially on a 1-point PPR site where you get all the equity there at the position.
So I just kind of built like a dummy lineup just to see like what all can you fit around Mac Jones. So if you're playing Mac Jones, I think you have to play Jacoby Myers. Like that's a definite. Mm-hmm. But like in this lineup, I got Mac Jones, Dalvin Cook, Pollard, Diggs, Lamb, Schultz. Like, I mean, you could stack it with freaking studs. And we talked about the thing that I want to go back to is we talked about how consolidated these offenses are. That Amon-Ra is going to get like a 28% target share. That Diggs is going to get a shit ton of targets. CeeDee Lamb could go nuclear. Like, you could play Mac Jones around basically the main vein for every one of these offenses and get your exposure to those quarterbacks and their ceilings through the wide receivers and the running backs.
Yeah. I hear you, and you didn't mention Diggs in that vein. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I don't see myself playing Diggs on non-Josh Allen lineup. So if I find a way to, get in on that Buffalo game, just maybe through Gabe Davis or some other route, and then I can, position it around some other things. I do think it is interesting. I mean, we have yet to see, what Mac Jones could potentially do. And these aren't, guys that we would normally think of pairing him with. But nobody, like when we talk about a 3-game slate, like let's just call it spade a spade. And Kev, you can't, you have to attest to this too, because you're the main contrarian piece that thinks about this. Nobody is going to have 3 pieces on the Patriots side in that game in the late slate. It's just not going to happen. And the chances is smaller in the fields that you're playing in, like the fields that Matty plays in when it's 1,000 or less. Like nobody's doing that.
We talked about the leverage. Ramondre Stevenson is going to be massive fucking chalk. Like that's going to happen. So if you're playing the correlated leverage against the Patriots running, like the matchups are there for the Patriots to throw. Like Chandon Sullivan is god awful. 83% catch rate, 115 passer rating in the slot. The Minnesota Vikings are really bad versus tight ends. And I know it's thin, but we're on a freaking 3-gamer, and the Vikings are top 10 in catch rate, yards per reception, and touchdowns allowed to tight ends. Like, so if we're talking about getting weird, Mac, I mean, you could double stack him for damn near nothing. And if he goes for 2 touchdowns and 300, I mean, sign me up, man. Like, that's a way that I'm going to attack this slate and be different. I think everybody else is going to build for Josh Allen, and everybody's going to build for Dak, and I am too. I'm not saying it's wrong. But if you're looking for another piece to go off of the board, Jared Goff is not it. Jared Goff has not ever had a damn ceiling week since week 4. Okay, well, then it's maybe Daniel Jones. It sure as hell is not Kirk Cousins. Okay, well, looking at the matchups, who else is in a matchup that could force them to throw, and the secondary is dog water, and if he throws, can have success? And that's Mac Jones.
Kev?
Everybody's silent. I don't know what to do here.
Are you on mute, Kev?
Kev's talking to himself.
The only thing that I would say is this, is that, like, I get it that with like this, the narrative with Kirk Cousins, right? Of it's prime time, avoid him, don't play him, all this stuff. But like, I've been hearing for the last couple of weeks, and like last week, which is exactly what led me to do what I did. And everybody in the industry was saying the same thing. Everybody loved Donovan Peoples-Jones last week, right? And he wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong. But everybody was saying avoid Amari Cooper because Amari Cooper on the road is bad and don't play him. Avoid him. And I was like, and we'd been hearing it for the last couple of weeks. Everybody saying the same thing. Don't play Amari Cooper. You can't play him on the road. You only play him at home. And he went off and smashed last week. He was 3% owned. And this feels like a similar situation here with Kirk Cousins, and I get it. Like, it's not great. Christian Darrisaw being out is a big fucking problem for them because the last 2 weeks without Christian Darrisaw, they've allowed a 58% pressure rate and a 51% pressure rate. So it obviously has not been good for them. But in one of those games, they also played the Bills, and they played pretty well as well against a really good defense that can get after the quarterback as well, and they won that game. And they have Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the league. And I feel like Kirk Cousins is not going to carry any ownership, and I think that could end up being a mistake. We want to talk about a quarterback that has legitimate ceiling with legitimate weapons. It would be Kirk Cousins. And I'm not saying that I think that he's going to be some smash play, but contrarian-wise, he feels like the guy because everybody's going to shit on him. Everybody's going to say the same thing, that you don't play Kirk Cousins on prime time. Kirk Cousins, is going to have problems and all this stuff. And I'm just saying that, like, we've seen him against really good teams. Like I said, 2 weeks ago against the Bills, when they came back, they won that game. And that was probably one of the harder. I mean, you're talking about on the road in Buffalo, and they were able to do that. Obviously, when you have the best wide receiver in the league and Justin Jefferson, I mean, he can bail you out. And so, fading Justin Jefferson, while maybe not a bad idea, also could blow up in your face and ruin your entire day because that man has the highest ceiling on this slate, and it's not of all of them.
You don't think Diggs can match him and CeeDee Lamb can't match him? They've already done it.
I didn't say they can't, but I don't think anybody has a higher ceiling than what Justin Jefferson has. Justin Jefferson can go absolutely nuclear, where Stephon Diggs has been really, really consistent this year. Really good, right?
Yeah.
He has the one game this year with 47.8. That was all the way back in week 2. But for the most part, we're looking at a lot of similar numbers. Great numbers. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he could definitely be the highest scoring wide receiver on the slate, no doubt. But there's not like there's a huge difference between the two of them in terms of pricing. But Justin Jefferson could also, go for 52. And so, to me, fading him, I think, is a mistake. And the other thing that again, just narrative based on this, but how much is this going to affect the Buffalo Bills team? Considering they had everything they just went through this past weekend with getting to Detroit and doing all the stuff they had to do to get back. Now they go back home and they're going to have to jump on a plane 2 days later to fly back to Detroit to play another game. Are we going to see that affect this offense at all whatsoever, or this team at all whatsoever? That is a lot of traveling.
They left Detroit?
I thought they stayed.
As far as I know, there was something that their plans were to fly home and to come home and to come back.
Stayed. I thought the plan was for them.
That would be the dumbest shit ever. We need to look into that because that would be so stupid.
Unless they change it, that's all they talked about on Sunday was that the plan was for them to fly back home and then to come back.
So Kev, back to Cousins for a second here. I don't care about whatever narratives about him playing on prime time, whatever the hell. What I care about is the fact that New England is second in pressure rate. And this is Cousins' numbers versus pressure this year. He's 20th in PFF passing grade. He's 26th in adjusted completion rate. And he's 25th in pressured passer rating. Like, the dude, it's not even a narrative. Like, the dude shits his pants whenever he has a rusher in his face. Like, right. I mean, he did it last week. And he's going to do it again. Like, New England is going to rush him. New England is going to blitz him. Like, that's what's going to happen. And the only other thing I could say, too, is are we also not factoring the fact that Justin Jefferson's dealing with turf toe? I know it's kind of getting shoved under the rug, but he's not 100%. No matter what people want to say, he's not.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, D-Bro, when we got to that wide receiver portion, because it's a short week, too. Like, let's call it what it is. And we got that report on Sunday mornings, and he was limited, or it looked like that he was dealing with that, and we know how much of a biatch that can be. Dealing with turf toe.
It hurts like a mother, dude. Like, I had it once, I'll never want to have it again.
And just to confirm, they did fly. They did go back home. The Bills, the Bills went back.
Wow.
Yeah, they did not stay. It says that Sean McDermott was asked about the consideration of staying in Detroit through Thursday. Yeah, we talked about it. I want to get the guys home, some quality rest and get their own beds tonight. We fortunately get out of here at a decent time and get there at home and settled. So
Detroit plus 9.5. Detroit plus 9.5. Oh, these clients.
I'm just saying, this is just something I keep thinking about, and the way that this offense hasn't been as explosive that we've seen lately and stuff like that. And like I said, we could always, for all night, we look like idiots for talking about it.
No. Hold on. To that point, though, Kev. To that point, which you just said about the Bills, that makes it more of a reason to sit here and go to these other games, because basically what you just laid out is the narrative of how this point total fails, how the most popular game on this slate, you just laid out the narrative of how this fails. So if this game fails and everybody is playing everybody in this game, like Diggs and it's Amon-Ra, and we know the pieces, like there's legit like 3 or 4 dudes in this game that are going to be owned a shit ton. If this game doesn't hit that high total and it fails, I mean, dude, all bets are off for taking down GPPs, baby.
Well, we're gonna have to get. It happens every year, right? There's this. I always remember. I think was it Adrian Peterson that did it like years back?
Yeah.
Like where nobody was on him, and he goes out and scores like.
You
2
remember
touchdowns
LeGarrette Blount going for 120-3?
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
Versus Dallas.
Antonio
Gibson versus Dallas.
Leverage off Zeke. Yeah.
So there's 100%. And so I guess whenever
these slates get fucking wild, dude. And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm like,
and
I got no
maybe I shouldn't push
Mac
back
Jones.
as
I don't
much.
give a shit.
And you may be right. Maybe I shouldn't push back as much. With Mac Jones, right? We only have so many options on the slate. It's not like this is a main slate where you can go to all these different plays. On a 3-game slate, wild shit's gonna happen, right? It's like Showdown, right? I mean, talking about playing, you play Showdown, it's the same shit, right? You have this random one-off tight end that you didn't play, and now you're not winning anything. The guy was 0.1% owned, and the guy at the top's taking it all down because he played this jack off. Or
I mean, if you told me the 49ers are going to beat the Cardinals 38-10, Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell are scoring 4 or 5 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
No, it's Jimmy G threw for what, 300 plus and 4 scores? Like what?
4 scores.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
and so
sometimes football like matchups can dictate things, and football gets weird. And again, it's not anything. At least for me, I don't think if I were to play Mac Jones, it's not. I don't think Mac Jones is going to crush. It would be a bet on. The Bills.
It's a bet on
Bills
everybody
don't
else
smash.
failing.
Dak Prescott doesn't smash. The Dallas points come from Zeke and Pollard.
Which is exactly what's been happening with them.
Yeah.
Is that it's been Pollard and it's been Zeke just racking. Well, not even Zeke. I mean, Zeke was last week, but Pollard has been absolutely crushing and scoring all the touchdowns the last 3 or 4 weeks for them.
I mean, there is a path that this is just a really low scoring slate across the board for all teams. And like I said, once you get to that point of teams aren't scoring touchdowns, volume becomes king, and receptions start to matter, yards start to matter more than the touchdowns do. Because there's not as many touchdowns to go around. And sure, the touchdowns do matter, but if a guy catches one pass for 6 yards and he's got the only touchdown of the game, I mean, he's not going to be optimal. A guy that, catches 7 balls for 95 yards, he's optimal. So it's just more of, if you think the slate is going to play out really low scoring across the board from a touchdown perspective, just jam in the high volume studs like Debro's talking about, the CeeDee Lambs, the Amon-Ra's that don't necessarily need touchdowns to get you there, and pay down a quarterback.
So here's the other thing I'll bring up, and then we need to move over to running back. We're probably about an hour in on just one quarterbacks. But the other thing about this is that you've got large spreads between Buffalo and the Giants, and it's a low total for the Dallas game. So the implied team total for the Giants is dog shit. That Patriots and Vikings game is really, I mean, it's a 2.5 point spread. So all you're saying is, okay, fine, it stays close and it goes over the total. So, because, I mean, Vegas is telling us, okay, Detroit's probably not going to put up a ton of points. The Giants are going to put up damn near no points. So, who's going to put up points on the slate? Okay, it's Buffalo and it's Dallas.
What's the Bills' defensive injury situation?
Russo was out last week. And Tremaine.
Is Tre'Davious White back?
He is not.
Trey was out.
I doubt he plays on the short week because I don't even think he's practiced yet. Like, they activated him, but they have been very insistent of like he was not even close to playing last week or the week before. I doubt we see him
because Cousins shredded them on the road. Jacoby Brissett just put up a career game against them. It's like I don't know. Maybe we're discounting. Maybe we're discounting the Detroit side. And Kev, you and I talk about this literally every single week. One of the first things we look at is, are the Lions at home? If they're at home, we know Goff is going to have way more production than he does on the road because he turns into a bumpkin on the road for whatever reason.
That is a good
I don't know.
point, man.
I don't know what the reason is. It's in some, there was like articles that came out when he was in LA that, McVay would stay in his ear till the 15-second mark while he's at home. But on the road, you can't do that because of the crowd noise. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's all hypotheticals, right? Like we obviously don't know, but there is something there with Jared Goff home road splits, and that alludes to why all these Lion home games break the slate every week. And so it's like, okay, well, I mean, should we be considering Jared Goff at that price that he's got? Because we know where the ball is going to go on that side too, right? So, I mean, and DeAndre Swift is free, which it can be a good segue into running backs as well. I mean, if this is a big if.
Wax poetic, D. Wax poetic, D.
It's a big if, but if he were to see any spike in usage, I mean, he could crush Buffalo. So I just I think nobody's going to play the Detroit side, but if that's that's the highest total game of the week, and we just saw what Cleveland did last week, it's like, why not have interest in loading up Detroit guys with Buffalo instead of just playing Amon-Ra?
Let's talk about this running back situation too. That's just a perfect segue. I'm glad you brought that up, Maddie, because this D Swift thing is absolutely out of control. And D, I know you've been waxing poetic on Twitter. Absolutely love it. Over DeAndre Swift. And this is the type of shit that angers people. This is how people are going to be breaking their TVs on Thanksgiving, because he's the type of dude who could come in and just burn lineups, straight up just flamethrower them. He's so cheap. Nobody wants to play him. It's a short week. How can he possibly get any run on this week, on a 4-game slate? And all these reports have been coming out Sunday morning. They now have been coming out, even today, yesterday, about how he's good and he's practicing in full. And everybody's going to look at it and say Jamal Williams is the guy. There's no way D Swift can do this. And this guy will just go out there and just obliterate lineups. And he is free this week.
And the thing with him is
$200 price tag on FanDuel, and nobody is going to play him at all.
And he just needs a slight increase in touches. He is just like Aaron Jones. He's just like Tony Pollard. These are the most explosive guys in the NFL. You give him 12 to 15 touches at his price tag, I'm cool with that. That's all I'm asking for. But these 4 carries, 6 carries, 3 targets, that has to go up. And it's like you're saying, Ryan, getting ahead of that curve. If DeAndre Swift, if his workload goes up at all, I mean, he is arguably one of the most talented players on this slate, and he's free. So
I want nothing, and I'll throw this out. I want nothing to do with DeAndre Swift. I'm not.
DeAndre Swift scores 20 confirmed. So
I don't think
that's what happened.
Dude, I'm just telling you. Here's the thing. I don't believe a damn thing that comes out of Detroit's mouth as far as their injuries. They're full of shit. They've done this to people the last 2 years. It's not even just this year, guys. What did we hear multiple times last year? It was DeAndre Swift is practicing in full, and then he goes out and he plays 10 snaps. We saw it all last season, and now we're seeing the repeat. And it's not even just the DeAndre Swift stuff. Did y'all notice what they did with Joshua Reynolds? They love playing with the damn injury reports. Reynolds last week was limited, and then he had DMPs sandwiched around that. This dude has not played since freaking week 8, and they listed him as questionable. I'm like, there ain't no way in hell he's playing. And then they ruled it out on Saturday.
They're doing the same thing this week.
Yeah, this team loves playing with the damn injury report. I don't think that DeAndre Swift is anywhere close to healthy. And it's not
just
even
wait till Jameson Williams gets back. Then it's going to be really fun.
So here's the thing. It's not even just that their snap counts. If you look at Swift's metrics, it paints a perfect picture that he's not close to healthy. Since week 8, there's 54 running backs that have gotten at least 15 rushing attempts. DeAndre Swift, he ranks 54th in yards after contact per attempt. He's 48th in PFF elusive rating, and the dude is only forced 2 missed tackles since week 8. We're talking about a guy that is hit the entire narrative around Swift is he's so efficient. He's so efficient. None of that is efficient. I don't think that dude is anywhere close to healthy, and he came out last week and said he's still dealing with stuff. There's a quote out there that said he's I'm gutting through, I'm playing through stuff. So, nah, man, I get it, and I totally understand, the angle,
But who you okay? So who are you playing at running back then? Because I mean, do you have interest in Barkley in a game that they could be trailing?
Ramondre and are you just going eating the chalk and going Ramondre and Tony Pollard?
Yeah, because like I mean, I can create red flags for all these guys. I mean, Barkley got for whatever reason got completely scripted out of the game last week against Detroit. Dalvin Cook is facing arguably one of the best run defenses in the NFL in New England. I'm going to
play a lot of Dalvin. That's
Ramondre has to get there through the passing game, which he can. Jamal Williams is completely touchdown dependent, and Swift would be leverage off of that. Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, he's one of the most inefficient running backs in the NFL. Singletary, I mean, he gets 10 to 12 carries a week. And it's like, I can go down this list and make red flags for everybody. So it's like...
Yeah, you can. But, I mean, the red flag that I think is the most realistic and real based off of what numbers are saying and the coaching staff is full of shit is DeAndre Swift. Like... Yeah. I can poke holes into all these running backs, but yes, the way that I'm going to be different is everybody's going to play Barkley. Everybody's going to play Tony Pollard. Everybody's going to play Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going to play one massive shit ton of Dalvin Cook. He is one of the most efficient rushers in the NFL. Dude is like top 12 in damn near everything you look at. And he hasn't had a monster game. Tell me how many times we see this, guys, where... the guy that nobody wants to play. Maddie, you told me this, what was it, a few years ago? We were playing an Island Slate, and you said, play Aaron Jones. I don't freaking care. I know they're good. And Aaron Jones went out and broke the damn slate.
Pretty sure I was against the Eagles.
Yes.
A couple years ago when they were like one of the best run
Panthers.
Defenses.
It was Carolina.
It was somebody.
And I'm playing a shit ton of Dalvin, dude. He ran really good. They got blown out last week. I'm thinking that the Patriots and Vikings game is going to be like the spread is close. They're not going to blow them out. And we just talked about Kirk Cousins is terrible versus pressure. Justin Jefferson is not 100%. You're playing at home. And we have one of the few, like outside of Dallas, the Vikings are the team that runs a lot and they're at home. I'm going to play a crap ton of Dalvin Cook.
And they're going to have to, the Patriots are going to commit to, making sure that Justin Jefferson doesn't get loose. I mean, whether he has turf toe or not, like Belichick is not letting that dude go anywhere over the top against him. So
two other things. Do y'all think Dalvin gets squeezed because everybody's going to play Barkley, Pollard, Ramondre, and people will even go to I think Jamal Williams or Devin Singletary?
I don't think everybody's going to play Barkley. I think Barkley's going to come in lower owned than what you're expecting.
I think Pollard Ramondre is going to be the chalky pick.
But what I'm saying is, you think Dalvin's not
going Dalvin and Barkley are going to be low because it's going to be Diggs, Diggs, Lamb, Ramondre, and Pollard. Those are going to be the four highest.
So the way you flip the slate is you wedge in Barkley and Dalvin. Is that what we're saying?
I wouldn't necessarily force both of them, but yeah, you can definitely play one
if you're paying up, because we've seen this a lot of different slates too. People will pay up for Barkley and then they pair him with a cheap running back. Like I could see Barkley and Devin Singletary being a popular build. Okay, well fine. I'm gonna play one of these other dudes, or I'm gonna play Dalvin and Pollard. I'm just gonna play a crap ton of Dalvin, dude. Like I think that he is how the Vikings are gonna sit here and build their game plan around, considering all the factors that when you face New England. And the one last thing I'll bring up about Dalvin, how many times have we seen year after year after year, Belichick will say, you can run on us. I don't give a shit if you run on us. That's fine, but you're not going to pass on us. We've seen that. Like, there's been multiple seasons of, the entire Patriots defensive mindset is, you can run on us. Doesn't matter. You're not going to freaking pass on us.
My only counter argument is he might want Kirk Cousins to pass on him this week.
Yeah.
He might say, you're not going to pass on us. I mean, you're not going to run on us, but you could pass on us.
Can I ask a question, though, with this New England defense? Honestly, it's an honest answer question. What offense have they played this year? Honestly, I know we talk about how great they are, but again, we go to the counter argument of you talk about the defense they face. They faced the Jets twice, so we can agree that the Jets offense is fucking terrible. And then they played the Colts, right? Which terrible, right? That was, and I believe that was with Ellinger at quarterback. And then from there, they played Chicago, which I think that might have been right at the start of Justin Fields starting to take off. Then you got Cleveland, Detroit, Green Bay, Baltimore, who they got crushed, and then you got at Pittsburgh and at Miami, right? Miami, they lost 20-7, and then Pittsburgh, their defense is terrible. They lost that game. But like we haven't seen this. Like we talk about how great this defense is, right? But like I don't fucking know that answer to be true because they haven't played anybody. They have not played really any good offense, and especially in a really long time.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, looking at who all they've played all season long, I can't push back.
What did Chubb do against them? That's probably your best. That's probably your best baseline for rushing defense, at least. Because I mean, the Browns, Chubb's been really good all year, so it's like if a good running back.
I was gonna say I'll see your Chubb and I'll go. The Green Bay Packers ran all over them, dude.
Yeah, the Packers and the Ravens scored a ton
Aaron
of points.
Jones ran for 110. AJ Dillon had 73. Like,
AJ hasn't done shit all year.
What did the Lions do? I mean, they were fine. Jamal Williams is never
that was without Swift being healthy. Yeah, and the only other one would be Baltimore. What did Baltimore do? That's
the Bears ran all over him. The Bears absolutely ran all over him. Like Khalil Herbert, 12 for 62. David Montgomery, 15 for 62. Like,
what was Baltimore's path to success? I can't remember.
I'm pulling it up right now.
While you're doing that, I just want to say really quickly, TN, appreciate you as always. $100 super chat. Appreciate you, my guy. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Hope you are doing well.
Sir, happy Thanksgiving.
You are the man. He does it every week, and I really don't ever know what to say because it is a lot, and we appreciate it. Truly do for the support that you give. So truly appreciate you, TN. Hopefully, we'll be live again tomorrow night. Come through again. Not with this, but with any questions you may have for your team this week, and hopefully we get some dubs this week because we got football this week. So even though this Thanksgiving slate, because I'm really looking forward to this Christmas slate, we're not going to get into that, but this Thanksgiving slate is.
Can we please get through this one first?
Yeah.
We're at the 51-minute mark, and we haven't even made it through running backs yet. I don't even think we've talked about running backs yet.
Baltimore, Lamar Jackson went for 107, but we're going to say that doesn't count. Justice Hill, 6 carries for 60. He busted off a 34-yard run, but even you take that away, he ran 5 times for 26. So
yeah, so I mean, I guess it kind of goes back to, I mean, at least for me, it seems to go back to what New England's approach on defense has been versus the Browns. They probably said, let's stop the run and make
Jacoby beat us.
All the other teams, it sounds like, Green Bay, we are not going to let Aaron Rodgers beat us, but if they want to, we're in Green Bay. So if we want to, play the control the clock game, let's do that. And both teams are just going to run the ball. So yeah, I mean,
good game too.
I guess just figuring out what you think Belichick is going to kind of install this week is probably the key to success for Dalvin.
The first game that the Jets played against them, I want to say Carter had a good game too. No, where's it at? Or maybe it was the second game.
I think a good leverage on that game too would be, saying that you're playing New England D and playing Dalvin, like, because who's doing that? Like nobody. But like, if the only way to success is Dalvin touching the football, but everybody will want to play New England just to have exposure to that game. Because let's be honest, like people can't help themselves. They look at the slate and they're going to be like, oh, it's the late game. I have to have a piece just so I can see that PMR remaining. But like playing Dalvin and the New England D, like, I just don't really see people talking themselves into that. So that could be great leverage because they can give up a ton of yards between the 20s, but they have a pretty good red zone defense. Like maybe Dalvin gets one, but that's enough on this slate where we're looking at the running backs and being like, yeah, you had to have Dalvin because he's just getting there from an optimal approach. But New England's also making life horrible for Kirk Cousins. They get a handful of sacks. They get, maybe another return or an interception return. That is interesting. Yeah, it's always hard for people to pull the trigger on Dalvin. So I am with Debro. Like he's going to be way lower owned than some of these other guys that we're talking about. Just where the pricing.
He was freaking 1% last week. He was 1%, and I think the week before that when I played him against Buffalo, he was 4%. Like nobody wants to play Dalvin Cook this year, and I'm just going to play all the Dalvin Cook.
What's the pricing discrepancy on them too, Debro?
Dalvin
between him and Stevenson. Sorry.
1,000.
Yeah, Dalvin's 7,400 and Mondre's at 6,400.
Yeah, so people will probably talk themselves into using that 1,000 somewhere else.
And even looking at like flex pricing, tell me this. You even looking at like getting him into the flex for the late game. Barkley's at 8K, Dalvin's at 74. He's wedged right next to CeeDee Lamb. Everybody's gonna play CeeDee Lamb over him.
Yeah, I like that. Before we move on to wide receiver too, I just wanted to go back to the Detroit situation. I don't know if we talked about him, but Justin Jackson, like the revival of this dude and how he's been involved, like that could be another situation. I mean, Maddie, I'm with you. Like if he wasn't there, like I would probably talk myself into playing like an absurd amount of DeAndre Swift just because of that, just because of the narrative around Jamal Williams. But like Justin Jackson, you know, him being involved, I think is another caveat. And maybe he's a piece that becomes popular because people want to play that cheap running back, as Debro was talking about, what can be optimal with paying up for a running back. So that's just another interesting way that will make me hard to buy into anybody in the Detroit backfield. But if I was looking at a piece in 20 teams,
because he's actually really damn good. Like he's every time he gets opportunities, as long as he's healthy, he's really freaking good.
Yeah,
well, I think that actually, to me though, I think that hurts. That would hurt Jamal Williams more than it hurts DeAndre Swift, right? Like I get it, and all the narratives there about DeAndre Swift, but if you look at some of the games, especially when they were really trailing, he did see a decent amount of targets. You had the game against Miami where they were trailing. He saw 5 targets in that game. He scored 14.3. Like I get it, he's not seeing a lot of carries, but I could really give a shit how many carries he gets. If
I agree
you
with
get
Kev.
him 7 targets at $5,600, like sign me up for DeAndre Swift.
I don't think they've had, since that Miami game, they haven't had a trailing script. They've been in every single game. Like the last game where Jackson had a ton of usage last week against the Giants, the Lions blew them out. So the Lions really just wanted to run the ball over and over and over again, and that's not a spot you want to just turn around and hand DeAndre Swift carries. So I agree with Kev. I think if this turns into a spot where Detroit's down by 2 scores, that tilts in Swift's favor more than anything. I think you would need to see the Lions playing from in front for Jackson and Jamal.
So going with with Kev, like going back to this real fast, is there any way that we could see Detroit winning this game? Like if Buffalo is off, they look really bad.
It's a Thursday game and it's the NFL.
They looked
and
really
Buffalo's
bad
traveling
versus the Browns, and they should have like crushed them. They're going to be traveling again.
I would 100% think they can, because Detroit also really hasn't.
Who's going to solve the clock away then? Then Justin Jackson could get 10 to 15 carries if they're actually up in this game playing that narrative. Because that's another way where you get contrarian as hell is you pair Justin Jackson with the Detroit defense. Because the only way they get there is if they're beating the Bills.
Really outside of the week 5 and 7 game, right? That New England game where they lost 29-0, and then Dallas 24-6. Both of those were on the road, I might add. But other than that, they have been in every game they've played this year. Like they have not.
I gotta pull it up now. I gotta sit here and see. Like,
so at home, Philly game.
Do you have it pulled up, Kev?
Yeah, I pulled up. So against Philly, it was 35-38. Next week against Washington was 36-27. And then Seattle was 45-48. In that game, you had to have that game to win.
And that was also, let me remind you, that was the week the Lions were missing everybody. And they still scored 45 points. For whatever reason, Detroit just scores points at home. I don't know why. I don't know.
And then Miami, you had 27-31. That's where they had a 21-point lead, I think, at that point. And then they came back. Miami did. The only game that didn't go off was the Green Bay game, where it was 15-9. When it was just kind of a gross game.
And because Green Bay plays slow as shit. Like they're bottom 3 in pace.
Yeah.
So Buffalo's going to push their play volume too. We got to throw that in there. Buffalo's going to push the play volume.
And Buffalo's defense has so many injuries. Like they've looked so bad. The last
Detroit has kept it close with everybody outside of those 2 games.
I think maybe the biggest way to get an edge on this slate is
damn it, I'm going to play some golf.
Just playing multiple Detroit guys. Like a lot of people are just going to have one. You're automatically different if you have 2+.
So do we just transition to wide receivers right now, and I ask Maddie how much Khalif Raymond is going to play then?
Let me just do this really quickly then. We know the talk is going to be Stevenson and Pollard. We already know that.
Yes.
Each of you give me, whether it's the same person or not, Just one play that's probably gonna be a little more low owned that you guys are gonna play.
Swift.
Dalvin.
Yeah, I'm probably playing Swift as well.
I agree. I think it's Swift too. Okay, but I do like the Dalvin.
I do
call.
like
don't mind
Dalvin.
it.
I do like Dalvin. Yeah.
I like that call. And going through
I
everything,
honestly might play Swift and Dalvin. Like if we're being straight up, like listen.
Ooh, that's
Pollard.
good. I like that.
Pollard's
Now, if you're gonna play Swift, you could talk me into that.
Yeah, Pollard's own and I love the dude. Like he's been amazing. Like he deserves his flowers. Like all this stuff has been made incredible. This dude is going to be 65% owned on a Thanksgiving.
Oh shit!
slate.
I think you push him in small field stuff. I think you push his ass to like above 70%.
Push him to 80. I mean, honestly,
he's gonna be like people are gonna lock him.
Yeah, like it's not even. Not even.
I mean, he is ridiculous. But I mean, all it takes is for him to be inefficient for one game,
or not even inefficient. He just
don't
find the
score.
end zone.
Yeah,
or it gets to the goal line. Zeke.
No,
if you're playing leverage, do you play Zeke a lot then? I mean, it's gross as shit. I'm not saying that it's not gross. But
Zeke very well could be the Adrian Peterson of this slate that we all look back on. Nobody played.
And then
everybody thought it was gross.
Zeke can fall in the end zone twice. Yeah.
Or Zeke could be the Jamal Williams of last week. He could get 60 rushing yards and 3 freaking touchdowns.
You actually can run on the Giants, but
you can run on the Giants a shit ton.
The biggest question is how healthy is Zeke and how much workload do they want to give him? That's my only concern. But I mean he's gonna get 1 yard carries at the goal line.
Whatever Jerry Jones says. Whatever Jerry Jones says.
Yeah.
I mean, but you could see it from the moment I stacked that game up last week. You could see it from the first drive. They were like, we're going to play Zeke, baby. Like, they got into the red zone, and they're like, here, go to Zeke. 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 Go to Zeke.
I mean, that's what they do.
Like, that's legit.
Pollard got stopped twice on the goal line carry, and then they were like, yeah, Zeke, go ahead and get yours. And then they gave it to him
anybody could have
another
scored
time.
that. Like, he just fell into it.
I mean, but that's legit. It's just trying to pay off on
That's what they do.
I mean,
yeah. I think crazy
that's not
leverage,
insane, man. Like Zeke could legit just be Jamal Williams of last week. Same damn defense, fall in the end zone 3 times, and we all hate the man.
Yeah, I think the only way that I play Pollard is
they get
possibly
down to
with him.
I was gonna say, or they get down to the goal line and play action pass, and then it's Dalton Schultz 2 or 3 times,
or Dak runs them in.
Yeah, or Dak runs them in.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's good. I mean, I just have to find we talk about taking stands all the time, and it's like the biggest thing that I'm gonna have to do to take a stand this week is probably not playing Stephon Diggs on teams that don't have Josh Allen on them, and play Pollard. Like find ways with leverage if you're playing. Like I'm only playing Pollard probably with Zeke, and I'm just gonna say, can I get all the points through this backfield if I'm not playing Dak Prescott or I'm fading Pollard? Like those are probably like my only 2 options, and I'm just willing to be able to ride with that because 60%. I mean, this was what we were talking about with Antonio Gibson. You know, the year that everybody wanted to play Zeke, Zeke was 80% owned, and nobody wanted to play the running back on the other side just to be able to talk.
And then Gibson broke the damn Slate at, I think he was like 30%, something like that.
Yeah. And it's like you make 1 or 2 or 3 moves like that, and we don't even need to talk about the Mac Jones or the Daniel Jones of the world. It's like we can just figure out the pieces to the puzzle of just saying if we do these 2 things, like that's 80% of the field that we're not even worried about because we're so different from them. And then it's just doing late swap and figuring that out and making those correlations through. So yeah, I think those are the 2 things for me. I do like playing both of the Dallas backs if I'm going to play Pollard.
I'm going to throw one more out there just because I think he's MME viable, or like if you're looking for the leverage. Do y'all have any interest in playing James Cook?
Yeah, he was in my first lineup I built, but I can't
I'm just
pull the
throwing it
trigger
out there.
on
Like
him.
the dude, he's looked really efficient every single time they've given him the ball. He's 4,400. Like, I mean, I know.
I mean, he was. I mean, they beat the Browns last week, but it wasn't like a complete.
No, he wasn't
decimation.
playing just in garbage time.
No, he was playing throughout the whole game.
Yeah, Lee had 11 carries, 2 targets, 86 yards, and he played just under 30% of the snaps.
Yeah.
You want to talk about like Singletary is going to be chalky. Diggs is going to be chalky.
Think Singletary's going to be chalky?
Mm-hmm. Everybody loves to play Singletary. Everybody
be
loves to play
popular. I don't know
Singletary.
about chalk,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
he'll
think
be
he'll
popular.
get
He's gonna
ownership
carry
just
some
for
ownership for
games.
sure.
All right, we'll put it this way: if
1/4%.
people go down, are they going to play Zeke or are they going to play Singletary? Y'all know everybody's going to click on Singletary before they click.
Oh,
on
see,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they're
Right,
playing
but
Pollard.
I mean, I think Pollard and Stevenson are I think is where everybody's going to go, and they're
Agreed.
6,600 and
Agreed.
6,400. It is not hard to
Yep.
get both those guys in.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not.
Well, a lot of people are going to look at 3 running backs in that perspective too, of just trying to get Singletary. Like, oh, if I don't play Allen, I have to have Singletary because this team is implied for 32 points, and I want to have exposure to this offense.
Yeah, and
So that's
also,
what's gonna keep this.
if you start your team with Allen, Singletary, Pollard, you now have one player from all 3 games, and that's something you feel semi good about just from a from a building a lineup standpoint. Is like, okay, well, I'm not going to be burned because I have exposure to all 3 games, and it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I think you need to take stands and go all in on one of these games. And I think Ryan, what was it? A couple years ago, we went in on the Lions and was it Lions and Vikings or something? But it's like just going all in on these spots.
I remember that. That was the Marvin Jones week.
Marvin Jones.
Jones made Xavier Rhodes his daddy.
Yeah, and because we were all in on that, maybe the game didn't go absolutely nuclear, but we had the Marvin Jones piece in our teams, and it's like he wasn't high owned, and we had that, so it's like you can still have a good week, and not necessarily take down tournaments if you've got the pieces. Right. And this is what I was kind of telling Derek about my team I played last week in my King of the Beach team is like I played Josh Allen with all 3 of Diggs, Knox, and Gabe Davis together, and I might do that again this week because why play on a slate where there's not many ceiling spots? Why try to pick and choose which guy is going to go for 40 points when just play all of them? And like even if Davis goes for 35 to 40, Knox and Diggs can still get me 15 to 20 if Allen is absolutely smashing. So it's like, you're automatically different because you're just loading up that one team and you're going to have the exposure to the guy that breaks the slate. And so, I don't know. It's just an interesting way to think about it and to be a little different. So
those mega stacks are huge. Those mega stacks are huge.
That's how I think you play Tony Pollard. I think you play Dak, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, and Schultz, and you load up on the freaking Cowboys and say they go for 40 again and absolutely crush. And you wedge in the Cowboys defense and you just say, look, they just rail the Giants like 40-3.
It's viable.
I love it.
All right,
full fade the Giants.
So at wide receiver, it becomes, I don't think there's a lot of a ton of guys just to get completely different on. Like I think there's some options, but because up top, I think Jefferson. I think Diggs is probably going to be the most popular of the top 3 guys that you have there. The CeeDee Lamb is probably going to come in. I wonder, but then I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's probably going to be popular because if you're going to do a run back option in that game, who are you going to go with? I mean, are you going to go with Khalif Raymond or something? It's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like he's got to be the guy that everybody's going to jam in, and rightfully so because he's going to have a good matchup. He's going to see Teron Johnson the most. Yeah. Teron Johnson has been really bad this year. So far, he's allowed 103.3 passer rating on the year. 4 touchdowns he's allowed. I mean, 442 yards. I mean, he's just been really bad so far. So that's who's Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to see the most of. Great matchup, and he's cheaper. He's $6,600, right? He's normally more expensive than that, and so I think everybody's going to jam that in as kind of their run back option. You're going to play Diggs, you're going to play Josh Allen, and then I think from there, whether it's tight end, whatever. But I think it's going to be harder though this week to try to really find because like we talked about, there's these offenses are so consolidated who they throw the ball to, and so it's going to take just one of these guys that's going to randomly pop off for a touchdown. Even if it's a 40-yard touchdown, you might have one reception, 40 yards, and a score, and he's going to be in the optimal lineup, and nobody's going to play him. But is there anybody for you guys that aren't the top guys? Because obviously we don't have to go over Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb. Those guys, they are who they are. We know that those guys are going to be carrying, 28 to 30+% or not ownership, but target shares. But these other guys like Darius Slayton, like Jacoby Myers, even guys like Adam Thielen or Michael Gallup, these guys that are going to be a little bit more off the board. Who are those guys that stand out to you guys? Because I don't think we need to talk about the top guys.
No, I'm going to play all the fucking Jacoby Myers.
My hot take is one of the cheap Patriots or one of the cheap Lions receivers will be on the optimal this week.
Dude, Jacoby
Whether
Myers,
it's
his game
Devontae Parker or Aguilar or Raymond, I think one of those 3.
Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne's interesting. I know he only saw one target last week, but I know his
He didn't run any routes.
snap
That's no
shares.
problem.
Yeah.
I think Parker just came back
guy.
last week, his first return to action from injury. So, and
Basically,
I know
Right.
it's a short
He's
week,
questionable as always.
but
The
he's
only
like
two
he's
guys
got a
that
week
ran
earlier
Go
this
ahead,
year
sorry.
where he saw over 200 air yards in a game. So it's like
Right.
that was the Baltimore game that we alluded to. Has the similar style matchup for Mac Jones. So it's like, I mean, on DK, I don't know what his price is on FanDuel, Ryan, but I mean, Parker's a touchdown guy. Like that fits well into the FanDuel scoring. But it's like, I mean, he's 3,900 on DK, and so he's down there in pretty much the free range.
Right.
But I mean, we talked about how the Lions are going to have to throw to stay up with Buffalo, and we think they can. And we talked about how the Patriots are in a pass funnel against Minnesota, and both of those offenses, outside of their number one guys, Amon-Ra and Jacoby Myers, have very cheap, affordable pieces.
I don't understand. Like, we could talk about all the clown pricing from DK. The fact that Jacoby Myers is a dude that gets a 30% target share, and he's legit got 3 games with 8 or more targets. He's got 2 games with 13 targets this year. And he is priced where he is just insane. Like, he feels like cheaper Amon-Ra St. Brown to me.
Yeah, and he has the game they won 29-0. He had 8 targets, 7 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown.
He can go for he legit
his highest scoring game of the year was in a 29-0 win. So I don't think I wouldn't be worried about game script at all for him.
No, and the other thing about it is, like, so if you look at that game, Maddie, he's got 30 points in his range. Like, that game, if you put the one where he goes for 8 and 111, he goes for 2 touchdowns. He's getting 33 points in that game.
Yep.
Like, he hasn't done it yet, but you add an extra touchdown to some of these game logs, like, he had 13 for 60, went for a touchdown. You add another one to that, he's got 27. He could go for upper 20s and high, or maybe touch 30 and be the best damn value play on the freaking slate.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I might lock Jacoby Myers, man. I might do it because
that's interesting about his
smash play, man.
Because he's the wide receiver
right in
6
between,
on FanDuel.
and he's right in between Darius Slayton and Gabe Davis. Like, DK is begging us.
Well, he's the wide receiver 6 on DK as well. He's way down there.
He is like, DK is, so DK is doing all kind. They did some funny stuff, man. They dropped Gabe Davis's price by $1,000 from 6,300 to 5,300 and wedged him right next to Jacoby Myers. Like, you have Gabe, Jacoby Myers, and Darius Slayton. If people are going to play it, they're going to go to Gabe or they're going to go to Darius Slayton. I don't think they're going to play Jacoby Myers.
Well, I mean, come on, it's Darius Slayton chalk week. Like this, yeah. I would be able to bet the farm on that. And Kev's talked about him. I don't like him. I never do. But if we're talking about a 3-game slate and we're throwing out these guys, like this is put up or shut up for Kenny Galladay. I mean, like, he has to, there's nobody else. There is nobody else. Like, I'm not thinking about Lawrence Frazier.
Can I interest you in Isaiah Hodgins?
Yeah. I mean, he's what, 3,100 on DK? He's got to be cheap.
And he's actually playing good. He's last week he did have a fumble, but last week, if you look at his totals, and I only know this because I played his ass in King of the Beach, and I was sitting here like dying inside when he got.
I think it was a sharp play. I mentioned him on our pod last week.
He had 30 receiving yards. Where the hell is he? Where's his price at?
He's min price again, I think. I think he's 3K.
Is he?
3K
I gotta find him. He legit had 30 receiving yards wiped off the board by freaking penalties. Like, he jumped straight up off the street and started playing. Like, they played him over Kenny Galladay. Brian Daboll benched Galladay in week 10 and played Isaiah Hodgins. And Hodgins he was a starter last week. I mean, we talk about guys that are off the board. If Darius Slayton gets the follow treatment from Trevion Diggs,
I could see Richie James being popular too.
I don't know if Richie James plays.
Oh,
yeah, he's
I don't think he's. Yeah, I don't think he might play.
Just because of the Wandale injury.
Yeah.
I mean, James came in and got a touchdown
at,
after he got hurt. Yeah.
people are going to look at a wide receiver for the Giants, and you know, all of these things form, as we talk about the chalk, from people who still play cash on Thanksgiving. Like, there's still going to be people who are talking about like what the cash lineup is for Thanksgiving, and that's going to be like part of that narrative is like the Giants have nobody, so who are we playing from the Giants in cash?
And it's Ryan, I know we've talked about this on pods we've done together in the past. It's like when teams start to miss these guys, and I know, you know, the Lions didn't fall in suit with this when they scored 45 points against Seattle, but when teams start to miss these regular starters, they just don't put up as many points, right? Because the regular starters are the reason they score in the first place. So it's like, yes, there is value there, but I mean, if they're not going to move the ball at all and score, and also they are playing the Dallas Cowboys, who have arguably the best defense in the NFL. So it's like, I would just be careful about how much Giants value I try to jam in. And it's like, I'd rather play Lions value that are cheap against Buffalo, because I think that game can go nuclear. I'd rather play Aguilar, who I think can catch a bomb. I'd rather play Devontae Parker, who I think can catch a bomb. It's like, I just think there's more responsible value plays than trying to jam in these Giants guys. But
I lean more towards full fading the Giants than anything, because I think Dallas just wipes them off the map.
Yeah, I don't mind
I
that
hope
at all.
you're
I mean,
right.
I do think on a
on
a full point PPR site, I can see why people would pay Saquon, and like he is their only piece that can somewhat, you know, keep them in a game that if they have a neutral game script, like it's because of Saquon. Like, I actually think a Saquon CD Lamb mini is interesting. But
so we didn't talk about Saquon a ton because, you know, what's there to say about Saquon? But the one interesting thing, and the Thanksgiving primer is going to come out tomorrow. Dude, Saquon has slowed down a ton, man. Like, that volume is catching up for him. I just want to read these real fast.
He had 35 carries 2 weeks ago.
Look at what he's done from an efficiency standpoint. So weeks 1 through 5, here's his ranks and yards after contact per attempt, breakaway run rate, and elusive rating. 11th, 7th, and 24. Now you fast forward to weeks 6 through 11, same categories. Here's his ranks: 59th, 30th, and 57th. The volume is massively catching up with Saquon. Like, he's slowing down a lot, guys. Like,
damn,
it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it too is, I mean, the fact that he hasn't played a ton of football the last couple of years, right?
Well, the defenses just stop Saquon too. That's going to take a sap his efficiency too.
You know, well, so is giving him the ball 35 times or 40 times in one game.
I mean, this is all coming down to like.
Sure.
I'll throw this back out here before we get any other wide receivers in here. My two biggest fades of the slate are going to be Saquon and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, the only thing scary with Saquon is just that he has the ability to break off a 70-yard touchdown anytime he touches the ball. But I agree with some of that. And the frustrating thing is they don't utilize him nearly enough as a pass catcher.
They don't.
Instead of running him into the ground 35 times a game, let him carry the ball. Hey, well, you know, let's give the man some targets, right? Because he's an incredible pass catcher. They don't utilize him that way. But the flip side could be is maybe they do utilize him more as a pass catcher this week because they're missing so many players, you know, on offense that maybe this is a time that you could see him get 8 to 10 targets in a game, and that is, I think, is a possibility for him. But
Dallas is so good. Dallas is so good versus running backs. They're 7th in yards per reception, though. That's my only pushback against it.
And Daniel Jones, he doesn't like to throw down. He doesn't like to check down. He'd rather just pull the ball down and run.
When they showed something on ESPN and stuff earlier.
Dude, give me Saquon with Eli Manning, please.
Like, they showed something earlier, like a lot of the man coverage looks that the Giants are getting this year. It's basically Daniel Jones like sees its man coverage and he just takes off. Mm-hmm. He just takes off, gets the lane, takes off for like an easy 5 or 6 yards. It's kind of how they're coaching him this year.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kev.
No, I was
just going to say the only.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The only other wide receiver that I had interest in, just if we're talking about Buffalo, was Isaiah McKenzie. And I don't know how much James Cook's usage has affected Isaiah being out there, because it has seemed to fall off since he was on the injury report and I think missed a game or two earlier this season. But he's just that type of guy that I've seen his explosiveness before. I've seen him be utilized. And this is we didn't talk about this with Josh Allen, but this is a must-win game for the Bills. Like they're looking at Miami, they're looking at, the Chiefs, they're one game out from them with 3 losses. Chiefs have 2. Like they cannot afford to lose this game in any way, shape, or fashion. So they need their best players on the field. Does Isaiah McKenzie factor into that? I don't know. I know that he's been utilized in the past, but he's a guy who comes in that nobody's going to be thinking about, I feel like, in this offense in piece and playing in that first game, where you don't want to waste the roster spot on him with these, Darius Slayton and Jacoby Myers and, all these other pieces who are around him that could feel, and I probably wouldn't play him without Josh Allen. But if I'm talking about, making my Buffalo onslaught stacks, I did have interest in Isaiah McKenzie of where his price tag comes in.
Totally agree. Only problem with McKenzie is, and I looked into him hard, I almost run him up for the primer, was that his snaps and his routes per dropback were climbing. And then all of a sudden last week, they went straight in the damn toilet again. Like he only played 40% of the snaps. And I'm like, it's just when you think he's starting to get more run, Buffalo's like, nah.
Well, he kills himself. Like he does a lot of really dumb shit. He runs the wrong routes. He fumbles the football. Like he does a lot of damage against himself. Anyways, I mean, it's not just because of that. He's had some really horrific mistakes for them so far this year as well, and that's not really helping him. So
I'm gonna say one more thing on the wide receivers. Like, when we haven't brought it up yet, like, I know it's not going to be, I know I'm not breaking ground by saying I'm going to play all the Stephon Diggs, but we haven't even mentioned it here. Do we get Stephon Diggs in the squeaky wheel narrative after he was talking to McDermott on the sideline about not getting targets last week? Do we get that this week where they're just like, all right, you want targets? Let's go, baby.
The thing with that is, though, I mean, I think like sure, like, but he's also been like, I mean, outside of last week was really the 1 week. Really, I mean, for the most part, though, he's pretty much seen double-digit targets in almost every game this year. So, like,
I think he returns.
It's not like
But you're talking about matching Justin Jefferson's ceiling, like Diggs's target totals: 15, 11, 11, 13, 8, 10, 16. Like,
yeah.
Just real quick to Ryan's point, I just pulled up the Bills' red zone targets. Diggs leads the team with 16, and then tied for second is Singletary and McKenzie with 8. Knox is
it's weird. Gabe Davis only has 5, I think, for 5 red zone targets, which is really weird.
And that's why when Gabe Davis scores, it's from deep. So you have to have the scores.
That's exactly
99 yards.
Yeah. To that point, though, Gabe Davis only has 5 red zone targets. 3 of those have come in it's either the last 2 games or the last 3 games. So he doesn't have any red zone usage, and I wrote this up a few weeks ago, but they're bumping it up now, is my point. Like, they're using him more now.
Yeah. But I mean, all of it to say is McKenzie can also score, and nobody's going to play McKenzie, and he's tied for second on the team with red zone targets.
Yeah, because
he can get red zone carries.
McKenzie has a 11.5% target share. Gabe Davis is seeing about 17% target share, and Stephon Diggs is seeing a almost 30% target share. But it's just the way they're utilizing, because, I mean, even...
Yeah, last 2 games, 3 of his 5.
Because you look at Steph Diggs, I mean, his average at the target is 42nd in average at the target, where Gabe Davis is actually 2nd in average at the target. And he's also 10th in deep targets. Obviously, they're using him as the deep ball.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, Gabe Davis is obviously in a great spot, right? He's $5,300, and he's going to carry a massive amount of ownership because of how cheap he is. And so I think you probably see more people stack Josh Allen with Steph Diggs and Gabe Davis than you probably do with Dawson Knox. And so, because he's so cheap, and there's...
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, he's just so incredibly cheap. I mean, you can get all the touchdowns basically by doing that.
Everybody's gonna play Schultz,
and you can.
Well, I'm only asking because last week, legitimately, nobody played Gabe Davis. He was like sub 5%, and Knox was the chalkiest freaking play of the damn slate. Like, it was everybody played Allen to Diggs to Knox.
That's because of who Davis was around.
Yeah, Gabe Davis was also a lot more expensive last week. He paid $6,300
because everybody wanted to play Cortland Sutton and Terry McLaurin that were $500 cheaper.
So y'all think Gabe Davis is going to push for like one of the most popular plays of the slate?
I don't necessarily think so, because there's a lot of game log watchers that will go through and see 6, 13.
We say that, dude, but
38.
Tell me how sharp the field has been this year, man.
No, it's been very sharp.
Damn good. That's why we keep seeing all the chalk hit.
Yeah. The field has been stupid sharp. So that's my only pushback against that.
The only other 2 players that I would talk about that I think that we haven't brought up once, and I think they're going to be overlooked, and that's one is Adam Thielen. I do think Adam Thielen's a little bit dust, but we have seen games this year where you see 7, 8, 9, 10 targets, and this could be a game that they do that. We know the narrative that New England likes to take away your best player. They're definitely going to do whatever they can to try to take away Justin Jefferson. That could open the door for Adam Thielen. Outside of last week, I mean, he's seen 7 or more targets, and what? You have to go all the way back to week 1 was the last time he did not see 7 or more targets in a single game. He's only $4,900. That is really cheap, and I don't think he's going to carry much ownership. And then I think the other guy would be Michael Gallup. That would logically make sense. Again, he's kind of been all over the place in terms of usage. But again, if things go a little bit different, he finds the end zone at $4,900, or excuse me, $4,600 for Michael Gallup. I think those would be the two guys that also could give you a little bit of leverage off of a guy like Gabe Davis or even Jacoby Myers, but more so Gabe Davis. If that's what you want to do, I get it. It's gross. But on a 3-game slate, you're going to have to get a little bit different. You're going to have to find some different spots to go to.
I just think Gallup's bad. Like, he's legitimately been terrible all year. Like, I don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's also coming off a major injury and, and stuff like that. So it's going to take him some time. He's probably not going until next year. He's a little bit more of the guy that we saw before. But, again, if he scores a touchdown on one of these games, I mean, he's still seeing, week 8, 49 receiving, 6, 4
he hasn't crossed 50
yards.
Receiving yards the entire season.
No, you're right. But if he finds the end zone on one of these, again, on a 3-game slate where you're not going to have, it's not like all these guys are going to go off, right? So if one of these guys, if Michael Gallup can get you 15, then that's probably going to be the optimal lineup. And so it doesn't take a lot to get there. And so I think both those guys would be a consideration for guys that are going to be low owned, and they probably should be because both of them can definitely have decent weeks. And so I think those would be the other two guys that I would look at the wide receiver position that I think are going to go majorly overlooked.
I mentioned his name just like in jest, but seriously, any interest in Khalif Raymond?
I think you can, but he's seeing such a ridiculously low target share. But again, I just on one game, but I think if I'm going to play him, how much is he? He's what,
$4,100?
Yeah, $4,100. So you could pay another $500 more and get to Michael Gallup, or you could pay another $800 more and get to Adam Thielen, who those guys have a much more secure, I think, in terms of target share opportunity. Now, Khalif Raymond, has had some few good games this year as well, so I don't mind him, and I think he's definitely in consideration.
My thing about Khalif Raymond is he's had 2 or 3 games that now I don't think he has not scored a touchdown the entire season. Yeah,
he's in the same boat, yeah.
But you put a touchdown on any one of these and you're looking at 13, 10, 16, 20, 15, 12. He's the same conversation as Gallup, but I think he's actually healthy and playing better. So I mean, we're talking about being different out of that high total game, man. I like Khalif Raymond a good bit. Is
DJ Chark back?
He's back, but he only ran 5 routes or 6 routes.
Yeah, I think it was 6 routes.
Okay.
I think 5 or 6 routes. Yeah,
he's not. I don't think he's close to healthy. The only 2 full-time wide receivers that Detroit used was Khalif Raymond and Amon-Ra, and the only 2 guys in New England that ran 60% or higher routes were Jacoby Myers and Nelson Aguilar last week. So just talking about off the field plays or who's actually on the damn field.
Love it.
So since we're kind of all over the place, so we can jump over to tight end. We might be able to get this thing done before 2-hour mark. We'll see what happens. We're getting there. But just give me again, just like we did on the other one. So we
just give me your one play, and then we're going to talk 45 minutes about all the other.
No,
plays.
I just want to hear names. outside of okay. But since we didn't talk about him, who's the guy that you're going to want to have the most ownership on? Jefferson, Diggs, or CeeDee Lamb? Go.
Diggs.
I think it's CD for me, and it's probably because I'm playing so much Davis. I'm just gonna play Gabe and hope that hits and take a stand.
Yeah, I like that. I like CeeDee Lamb, but I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson because $8,200 Justin Jefferson isn't fair. Okay, so let's go over to the tight end. See, I can do it. Let's go over to the tight end position, and you have Hockenson, Dalton Schultz, who I think is going to be chalk. Dawson Knox probably follows that up right behind him. It's really these 3 guys. I mean, I guess if you really want to talk about Lawrence Cager, who saw 3 targets last week, for the Giants because they have nobody else to throw the ball to. You know,
he's a wide receiver on FanDuel, actually.
Yeah,
not even at the
Lawrence Kager.
Definitely don't play him on FanDuel then.
I'm not playing him at all, but I will. I'm going to play some Jonnu Smith. Just throwing it out there.
I was going to ask
Jonnu.
you, D, if you're playing Mac Jones, are you playing Jonnu?
I'm playing Jonnu, and this goes back to how you attack Minnesota. So Minnesota has been back, like they're good against the deep ball. You beat them like they're 30th in short passing DVOA. And so like when I look at these short area teams that struggle, like heavy zone or what have you, where is the yak gone for the teams? So for the Patriots, their top 3 guys in yak, Ramondre Stevenson, Jonnu Smith, and Jacoby Myers. Jonnu has got 8.9 yak per reception. Like that is a damn elite number, man. Like I don't know. If there's one guy that I could see like popping off and we look back at this slate and we're like, how in the shit did he get like 50 receiving yards and 2 tutties? Dude, I think it's Jonnu Smith.
I like it. I mean, he is probably the best play for me on the slate, especially talking about FanDuel when we're chasing touchdowns and how popular the other 3 tight ends above him are going to be. Like,
he's so efficient, man.
Hawkinson, you know, he's getting there on targets, not really a great matchup. Schultz is just going to be so insanely popular. And I don't know how you play Dawson Knox outside of Josh Allen lineups at this point in time. Like you just want to get, you want to get all the equity of Josh Allen by playing Dawson Knox. I can't imagine playing Dawson Knox solo. So Jonnu's just interesting. I mean, he gives you that piece in a later game on, a piece that probably is allocated somewhere to like TJ Hawkinson or nobody has him. And, if he can just get you 8, 9, 10 points, you feel good about it compared to where the slate is shaping up. I mean, this is one of those positions where, give me somebody who's just going to be low owned at a somewhat volatile position. I mean, I would love to play TJ Hawkinson everywhere because of the, target share that he's seeing on this team. And it makes it tough for me to even think about Adam Thielen, Kev, because of what TJ Hawkinson's been seeing. Yeah. And I just can't play Dalton Schultz outside of Dak teams at the popularity that he's going to see, because Dak's just not, this is not like 45, 47 throw Dak that we've been used to seeing. Like this dude is fine with throwing it 27 times, 30 times, and it's just not enough for me to play a tight end that's going to be 50% owned solo.
The whole time Kev was going through the Adam Thielen talk, the only thing I kept thinking was TJ Hawkinson. Like, Hawkinson's getting a shit ton of volume. The Patriots they're tied for the most receiving touchdowns allowed to tight ends. I'll play Schultz with Dak, but outside of that, if you want to get weird, I mean, look, we're on a 3-gamer. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to have some double tight end lineups and stuff, especially considering the low totals.
So you're going to play Lawrence Kager?
Shit, no, I'm not playing that dude. I'll play Jonnu. I'm not playing that schmo.
Hey, I mean, whoa. I mean,
if
this man has a family and you're out here calling him that,
I mean, it's Thanksgiving week, Derek.
He has 103 points.
I know. I'm giving Jonnu Smith. I mean, I think that man has a family too.
Okay? Shut your mouth.
No, but
he is a tight end out here. He is a wide receiver trying to play tight end position. You never know.
If we think New England's going to pressure Minnesota over and over again, I mean, doesn't that write a script that Hawkinson could get some very quick targets to get the ball out of Cousins' hand?
Hawkinson has gotten, like, you bank on him for like 9 targets. He's going to get them. Like, ever since he rolled up into Minnesota, they're just like, all right, you're the wide receiver too. Like, they've been force feeding him volume ever since he got there. I think going double tight end and getting exposure to the late game, like if you're not running Mac or whatever else, like having Jonnu and Hawk late, and having some swap equity on how you want to go with that team, like I think it's one of the ways to attack late. Like if you're fading Schultz or Knox, I think the Jonnu is a good pivot off of Knox. He's only 500 less.
You can also mini stack Myers with Hawkinson too. Or if you're playing Mac Jones, you just play Mac with
Yeah.
Myers and Jonnu, and you can run double tight end and play Hawkinson.
The dummy lineup that I made was
Yeah.
leverage off of Mondre. It was literally just Mac, Jonnu, Myers, and Hawk and
Dalvin.
Dalvin coming back,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, for me, I think it's more so a mentality thing. And Maddie, I know I've talked with you and Kev about this numerous times, probably Debro as well. Like the highest price tight end. Like if your name is not Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews, and maybe sometimes depending on who's healthy, George Kittle, like I just cannot pull the trigger on the highest price tight end. I mean, we do it for the safety reasons, and because, and that feels gross on a Thanksgiving slate when we're talking about a 3-gamer, because like he could go out there and easily get 8. And like, if we get 8 from any other piece, like that price tag is just not worth it. And, he's going to be that safety blanket that people look at. And again, we talk about, do people want exposure to all 3 games? If they do, like, how can they get exposure? Oh, I'm just going to play Hawkinson because I can't afford Justin Jefferson. I don't want to play Dalvin Cook. I don't like Adam Thielen. I'm not playing Vikings D against the Patriots. So I'll just take this tight end because the position is so gross. And if people are just going to think that, then I'm just going to automatically just write that guy off and go elsewhere, because he hasn't shown me enough that he has dominant range of outcomes in his repertoire.
You just described his entire game log, like looking through what he's done all year. 7, 5, 10. Okay, he blew up versus Seattle. Okay, everybody gets one. New England. He faced New England earlier this year. 1 point. 8, 11, 16, 11, 8. Like, he's gotten a crap ton of volume. Volume has never been the problem for Hawkinson. Even when you go back to Detroit, it's just the fact that he doesn't do anything with it.
Right. Yeah, I do love that Jonnu call, D-bro, and I probably will end up having a lot of him just because he's cheap and he's out there and seeing looks, and I'll save the salary.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a crap ton of Jonnu.
Defense.
Patriots are you're on mute. You're screaming at yourself.
I hate myself because I'm going to play some Lawrence Cager. And more and more I keep digging into him. I'm gonna play him. He's $2,700. He's playing 66% of the snaps. We have nobody else to throw the ball to here. They're going to have to throw the ball to somebody. It's going to be him. He's going to go 4 for 50 and a touchdown.
We just talked about this at wide receiver.
Let's go to defense.
We just talked about this.
Let's go to defense. I'm just saying it. That's all I want to say is that I'm going to play him.
Crap on Mac Jones. This man's talking about playing Lawrence Cager.
Hey, we got to get different. That he's playing all the snaps, running the routes.
Cheap tight ends. That's his MO. Cheap tight ends, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
He's got 70 air yards over the lot. Hey,
prayer yards. We're gonna put that there.
Lawrence air yards. Cager.
Lawrence Cager.
There you go.
Not host international Cager.
That's how Dan Arnold was born all these years ago. And remember what
Thanksgiving is how Ari Arnold was born. Yes.
Nobody disparages the name of Dan Arnold.
Okay.
Ever.
Except for Ryan, who was on Josh Hill, and we tried our best.
Josh Hill, baby.
I think you were the only one. I remember that show. That was funny.
Yep.
So
that was the same show that Kev called me an idiot for fading Michael Thomas.
I probably was right.
Oh, pour one out.
I don't remember. I mean, it's just whatever. To me, on this, it's just whatever low. After you make your build, whatever. Team, whatever is there, pick a team. It doesn't really.
Patriots
obviously,
going to be massive chalk.
Yeah, Patriots are 3K. They make sense. Obviously, the Cowboys. If you have $3,700 to stick over, throw the Cowboys in there. If you don't, whatever. I really don't care.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it, Kev. I'm telling you, Turpin's gonna have a TD before that year's over. It's gonna happen.
I'm gonna try to play the Cowboys on every team that I can wedge them in, and the reason is that if we get these 3-gamer slates and it's like the one defense that scores a defensive touchdown, it's like 2 take down the tournament. You have to have, dude. Dallas's stuff. 10 points, 23 points, 22 points, 11 points, 16 points last week. Like, they have the upside that all these other defenses don't have outside of the Patriots. It's really Cowboys or Patriots. And
Yeah, and throw a special teams touchdown on to those game logs, and now you're
Dude,
really cooking with gas.
The Patriots 17, 26, 13, 22, 11. Like, as far as the upside, none of these other defenses can match what the Patriots and Cowboys can do as far as
I agree.
giving you 20
I think it's
points.
one of those two.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's you play one of those two and you move on.
I agree.
Yeah. And especially with the pricing and how it's shaping up. Like, I know we normally talk about, just paying down what you can fit, but like, this is a scenario where I'm putting in the defense and just tell me what the other 8 slots need to be, because
on a 3-gamer, raw points do matter. So
on the 3-gamer, I want to chase ceiling and matchups matter with that, but like I want to chase the defenses that have shown us, like, if there's one damn defense that's going to break the whole freaking slate and go for 20, those are the ones that I want to have exposure to. And I can't say that, like, as good as the Bills have been, they're not even that defense. Like, they're like the Steelers. They've always been a really good real life defense, but like they've only scored double-digit points 3 times. They've hit 20 once, but they've only gone above 13 points twice outside of the 20. So, no.
All right. Well, it's that time. Same thing we do every time that we're here. Let's build a lineup. Ryan?
We're going first?
Yeah, start it off.
We're on Draftkings,
let's go
just in case you need to know.
Yep. No, let's go Amon-Ra. Let's go Amon-Ra. I like starting off strong there.
All right.
That game.
D-Bro, you can go next. No,
let's go Jacoby Myers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mac Jones.
No, I wasn't going to do that to you.
Maddie?
I'll just take his alpha.
Let's go DeAndre Swift.
Oh.
Fuck it. Let it ride. Jared Goff.
All right.
Let's go Gabe Davis for the bring
There
back.
we go. That's what I was wanting to hear.
Okay.
Like that.
Gabe.
Okay. So we got $5,500 left. We have running back, tight end, flex, and D.
I'm going to throw a D in here just so I got an idea of what we're cooking with. Is it to me?
Yeah.
Yep. Even if you plug in the Cowboys
Dalvin.
defense. Let's see where that puts it. Okay. Maddie?
Did you say Dallas or Dalvin?
Dalvin. But I already have the Dallas defense plugged in as a placeholder. So, like, if you did that, you got $5,500 left for tight end and flex.
I love it.
Let's go Diggs.
Okay. What is that going to leave us with? Oh, we can fit Jonnu in, baby!
Oh, here comes Kev with Kager.
Motherfucker's going to put Kager in there. I know he's going to do it. Go ahead, Kev. It's your pick. No hate, bro.
Yeah, it's Kev's pick.
It's to you. Go ahead and say Kager. I know you want to.
Let me see something. I just want to know one thing.
Now he's gonna back off. He's like, well, now they're expecting me to say it. Now I can't say it.
We could also go Patriots and Schultz.
You done painted me into
No, I was gonna see if we'd be able to get John Newman with the Cowboys defense, because I want to keep the Cowboys defense.
You can.
But I don't give a fuck. We're going Lawrence Kager.
I know.
Hey, Kager party. Let's go. I'm looking forward to it.
Kager party.
So this is Jared Goff, DeAndre Swift, Dalvin Cook, Amon-Ra, Jacoby, Gabe Davis, Kager, Stephon Diggs.
A sexy team, dude.
If Kager ships the Millie, we are throwing a Kager.
Dude, like, this is a sexy team in the sense that, like, we legit just full faded the Dallas Cowboys. You realize that?
Yeah,
that's fine. I could honestly see
but you're playing the Cowboys D, like,
and if by chance,
if
by chance
I'm not against it.
If by chance Turpin houses a kickoff or a punt, that's offense. It's points for Dallas, and offense is not on the field.
You're playing that game just fails. It's
the game can fail and it can be weird. I 100% think that is like the weirdest game of the three.
I'm totally down with that, man. I love this lineup.
All right, well, why don't we build a FanDuel lineup?
Let's do it.
Do it.
pull it
God,
up.
you're gonna have to give me pricing here.
Yeah, I have no
I
idea.
didn't
I'm just gonna
even-
say
I hadn't
names.
even
I have no
looked
idea
at-
what.
Let me see if I can even
I'll pull
log
it up.
into my FanDuel.
I can log in or pull it up.
I guess I could too. I guess I
I
could. not be
always
lazy.
I always use the app. I never get on desktop.
Yeah, let me see
Let
if
me
I
download
have.
No, I
might
mean
see
that
that.
could be. You know, I'm a hand build bro, and I do it all in there. I don't have my spreadsheets and the CSVs.
I don't think I've ever submitted a team on my computer.
I don't think so either. I think I'm just been a full hand build bro.
I
for life,
have
baby.
Yeah.
always done.
Maddie taught me the right way, God's way of building teams.
Yes,
unless
sir.
you're in unless you're in a different state.
Okay. I'm in. I got now. I can see pricing. All right.
All right, me too.
So all right. D-Bro, you started off this time.
Oh shit, I can't see pricing. I'll fly blind. I don't give a shit.
TDs. We want
Roll-
TDs on FanDuel.
I'm gonna start with Dalvin.
Okay.
2 or 3 touchdowns is in his range.
7,800. Saquon's 8,800.
Who's it to now? You, Kev?
No, Ryan, you can go.
Gabe Davis, 7,200.
Okay.
64 left.
Maddie.
6,400 per.
Damn, CD Lamb's pretty cheap, huh?
They're begging you to play him, probably.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the pivot off of him?
Jacoby. They're pretty much the same price.
Hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna make the same pick I just made. DeAndre Swift. I think he can score.
He's cheap.
He's free. 6,200 is insanely cheap on FanDuel.
It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna go Dak. Go different.
All right. So it's back to me. What do we got left?
Yeah.
What are we working with?
We got 6,100 per, 2 wide receiver slots, tight end flex defense.
right.
Defense
Suck
is
it, Kev. Johnu.
love it.
Oh, we're not getting Kager on this one?
Hell no.
7,000 per slot if we pay for the Cowboys, who are the highest defense at 5K. So this is shaping nice.
I would play the Cowboys because then they're not going to be highly owned there. A lot of people are just going to pay down.
Yeah.
to that
I'm
dude.
gonna throw in CD Lamb. Fuck it. I mean, we got Dak. Let's ride.
Yeah. What spots we got left?
Flex, wide receiver,
How much we
defense.
What you thinking, Maddie? It's to you.
Yeah. Let's if we're not playing Schultz and we're playing Dak, let's throw in Gallup.
Okay.
So what's the last spot? Flex?
Flex 7,500. So that's
Let's see,
your
Kev.
options are Stevenson, Jamal Williams, Zeke, Singletary, Jacoby Myers.
This one I'm gonna need a little bit of chalk, and I'm just gonna go with Ramondre Stevenson.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
fine.
Especially
I think if you
him
weren't
and Dalvin,
playing
man.
Dak, I think if you weren't playing Dak,
Johnny.
then Zeke makes a lot of sense. But since we got Dak, I think you don't play Zeke with him.
That's an interesting team.
Yeah. 300
It's a-
left on the table.
Dak double.
Yep. With no Giants run back.
I mean, they're gonna squash him.
With the Cowboys D.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
you
a Cowboys
Three-
onslaught.
Just
Three
Cowboys onslaught.
pieces in the late game too. Like who's playing that? That's so nice. John New,
Wow.
Stevenson, Cook.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that too. On FanDuel.
Well, yeah, Josh Gilham just said in the chat nobody mentioned Gallup, and he made it on the FanDuel team. So there you go, Josh.
We did talk about him. I talked about it when I
talked
brought
about
up.
Gallup.
Yeah, we talked about Thielen, and I brought up
There's
Gallup.
some
too.
shade at Gallup.
Yeah, D-Bro hates Gallup. I don't know why.
Because
He probably cost him some money or something somewhere.
He's a Jag.
Yeah, but on FanDuel where you're just touchdown hunting and not hunting for volume.
I don't hate
He
it
makes
at
a
all.
ton of sense on FanDuel.
Yeah,
I was
makes a ton
mainly
of
thinking
sense.
DraftKings earlier.
Made two lineups, and we did not play Tony Pollard either one of them. God may have mercy on our souls.
I mean, he's going to be we could say it. He's going to be the highest rostered player on both.
Yep. Nope. No doubt.
Yep.
He is going to be the highest rostered player on DK. Like that is not even in
Especially coming
discussion.
off which is crazy because last week he was like less than 5% owned.
Because Zeke was back, and now everybody he blows up, and now everybody's going to change all of it, and we're going to watch either Dallas take to the air, or we're going to see Zeke go for 3, and then Pollard goes back into his like 12 points.
Whoa.
I mean,
This is a Tony Pollard.
Bro, I love Tony Pollard. Dallas Cowboys fans do not like me because I talk so much shit about Zeke.
When's the jersey being delivered?
I need to buy that too. I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Najee?
For what?
But I can't decide. I would think
buying
also
a Najee?
Really it would make
Najee?
I could get a Najee too.
It'd be him or Pollard.
What was the team that shipped it for you last week? It was Pollard and Najee.
It's got to be
Higgins.
Najee.
Because I'm buying. I looked at it yesterday with the banks for me and stuff. I'm buying a Christian Watson one.
You have to. You
brought me
have
the
to.
bacon,
have
baby.
to.
You
Yeah.
have to.
That's the narrative right there.
Yeah.
So it was. This is the $12 single entry. It was Josh Allen, Tony Pollard, Najee Harris, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, Nico Collins, and Colts D.
Good Lord, that's a good team.
It's such a good build. I mean, it's Cleveland and Buffalo stacked up together, highest total of the week, with a T. Higgins, Najee Harris mini stack, and
that was
Pollard.
a great mini stack.
I mean, it's a phenomenal build.
That's a really damn good team, Kev. Hats off, dude.
And it's like, and that's what Kevin and I have preached all year is that yes, there's a lot of there's been so many chalky spots, but it's like, just how can you be slightly different? It's like, I mean, Josh Allen was 12 points and 40-something% owned or whatever he was, and it's like he's still on a winner.
Bets.
He's still on a winner.
The correlated bets that you're making with mini stacks is what I love, man. Like how many things do I have to get right? Okay, if I make a bunch of mini stacks, I just cut that from a 9-leg parlay into a four-way. I gotta get 4 bets to get right. And if I get those 4 bets right, let's go. Yeah, like when I shipped everything, not last week but the week before, I had all Pollard and Christian Watson minis. I had that like everywhere. I had like 60% of my line.
Green Bay Dallas ended up being one of the highest total scoring games of the week.
Yep.
And that's like Kev just stacked up
minis, man.
Yeah, Kev just stacked up Buffalo, Cleveland, one of the higher scoring games.
That's when we go back to this slate. I'm gonna have
Dallas scored 40+.
I'm gonna have so much
and
Dalvin Jacoby minis or Dalvin Jonnu minis. It's gonna be crazy.
I like it.
Yep. Well,
now we're just sitting here just trying to eat up time so we get to the 2 hours. Is that what's happening?
So we get to the 2-hour mark, exactly.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Anyways, so it's been a lot of fun having all of you back on. It has been a long time. I can't remember the last time all 4 of us were on the same show because it wasn't this last year.
It's been a minute.
I think it had to be at least a year before that. It's been at least a couple of years since the whole band was back together. We can just get Ben on. Can we get Ben on too? Just the whole gang all back together. But
I'd love that.
Brady bunch them in. We'd love that.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
But hopefully we can do it again sometime this year. Maybe it's the Christmas slate, the Christmas Day slate. I don't know if that, but that probably doesn't make sense how that would work. But maybe I don't know. Or maybe in the playoffs. That's also the second best time of the year. So we can get all 4 of you on.
Wild card.
But Ryan,
weekend.
he's got a little Ryan coming here in the coming weeks. So wish him well on that as well.
Possibly around Christmas.
Join the club. You're the last one to join the club.
And last one.
Holiday baby.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to. I hopefully that you got your own little recording area now because you're gonna have to be quiet. The baby's sleeping and everything else. Or the wife's gonna come in and just go night. This night. You wake up the baby because you're in here talking on a podcast, something like that.
Yeah, but, don't come in with those lame ass intros, and I won't have to get to 10 decibels to let the people know what's going on.
Don't make that man monologue. You ain't got to twist his arm anyway. I mean, shit.
Yeah, actually, send us out of here. Send us out of here. Okay.
Yeah, Ryan, send us home.
And we got to have a we out. Okay. That's always customary.
All right, so we got our builds. We got everything set. All right, we're getting there. We love it. We appreciate everybody rocking along with us. We got TN coming in with the super chat, Walito coming in with the super chat, and everybody who is keeping the chat going. Even Josh, who shouted us out, talking about we didn't talk about enough Michael Gallup. We talked about Michael Gallup. You just had to listen to the right spot. I know Kev's gonna hook it up with you guys afterwards. He's gonna mark it so you guys know exactly where to find the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, tight ends, defense that we talked about, and you can just scroll through. You don't got to listen to 2 full hours, but you should, because this is the DJ Nation podcast, and this is what we do every week. Signing off for Matty DFS. Matty gets buckets. Matty in them DFS streets. Kevin Steele, you can find him on Twitter at FantasyRaf13, Santa Kev, and D-Bro, the one and only. Y'all better fear the beard when D-Bro comes onto the podcast. You know what time it is. Bringing those takes. And your boy, Mr. Monologue himself, Ryan Williams. You can follow me on Twitter at RyanAlexander_W. It's the Fantasy Authority DJ Nation podcast. Good luck to you guys on that Thanksgiving slate. Be thankful. Be thankful that we get football. Be thankful that you got some food on your plate. Be thankful that the DJ Nation podcast exists. And make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to catch you guys next time. But until then, we out. Get that money. Peace.